GTA Online has over 800 vehicles in total, and while most of them are just filler or interchangeable with each other, there are quite a few unique vehicles that are so good and so transformative that you can't claim to have fully experienced the game unless you own them. And I know for a fact that most casual players don't even own a weaponized aircraft of any kind, let alone something crazy like an FH1 Hunter or a Pyro, because they either don't have the money for that sort of stuff or they simply don't realize what they're missing out on. And with GTA 6 on the horizon, if you don't already own the best vehicles in the game, you may not have much time left. So in today's video, I'm about to give you my top 15 must-buy list of vehicles that you need to experience at least once before GTA 6 drops. Some of these are really good in PvP free roam, others have unique characteristics or features that make them stand out from the crowd, but one thing's for sure, every single vehicle I'm about to list right now is awesome in one way or another, and you simply cannot go wrong with any of them. And the very first vehicle that you absolutely must experience at least once is the HSW Weaponized Ignus. Trust me when I say that very few supercars stick to the road like this does, especially at the speeds that this thing can pull off. And it's not just a fast car, because if you pay attention to the roof, there's a giant triple barrel minigun turret, and this thing just slices right through unarmored cars in a matter of seconds. And sure, the traverse and elevation on this turret aren't all that good compared to the minigun on a weaponized Tampa, for example, but a Tampa can't take a corner at over 100 miles an hour without wrapping itself around a light pole, and a Tampa also doesn't come with a built-in missile lock-on jammer from the factory. Next, we've got the Brickade, and this is the 6x6 Acid Lab version, which is the second most heavily armored vehicle in the game after the MOC. Combine that armor with its incredible weight and that giant ram attachment up front, and you can just toss traffic out of the way while zooming around at 90 miles an hour in your mobile Acid Lab factory inside of a public lobby, completely ignoring any and all punishment being thrown your way. By the way, this isn't just a big truck that can tank lots of missiles. It's also one of the best solo income sources in the entire game because it can make you over $351,000 per hour with the mansion production speed boost. And I don't know about you guys, but getting that kind of money from a semi-passive business that spawns right next to you, no matter where you are on the map, is just insane to me. Plus, you only get one sell vehicle each time, so you don't have to worry about griefers destroying your stuff if you sell in a public lobby, because you can easily make it to all the drops in your super fast Manchez dirt bike before some oppressor kitty even realizes what you're up to. My next vehicle is also very heavily armored, and it's a massive truck, just like the Brickade 6x6, but instead of functioning as a mobile drug lab, it instead enables all of your other businesses by acting as a mobile headquarters. That's right, I'm talking about one of the best grinders tools in the game, which is the Terrorbyte, with a master control terminal installed in the back. This truck was already a tier 1 purchase even before the Agents of Sabotage DLC, quite honestly, because it was just so tanky. It was also the only place in the game where you can modify your Oppressor Mark II, but now it's irreplaceable, and there's nothing in the game that even comes close to offering the same level of functionality. Think about this for a second. What other vehicle allows you to step outside your apartment and within seconds get a status check of every single business that you own? You can monitor stock levels, purchase upgrades, resupply your businesses, start sell missions if you want, and you can even swap DJs to increase your popularity at your nightclub. You can also start hangar source missions, CEO cargo work, vehicle cargo, basically anything related to money making, you can do it from your Terrorbyte. And if somebody in your session is foolish enough to chase you in a public lobby, you can take solace in the fact that the Terrorbyte's armor can tank up to 34 homing missiles, and that's if the enemy can land all those shots, because A, the Terrorbyte comes with a missile jammer upgrade now, and B, there's this giant multi-launch rocket system on the rear end that will shred griefers to bits within seconds. And if somebody's really pissing you off in a public lobby, my next vehicle will take care of them in an instant. Meet the Oppressor Mark II, aka the Forbidden Broomstick. And while everyone hates this futuristic missile bike for ruining the vibes of OG GTA Online, I would like to remind you that before the Mark II, there was the Deluxo, and before that, we had the Vigilante, and the fully loaded Ruiner 2000, which every griefer in the lobby was abusing to kill newbies. Let's be real here. Most folks who aren't assholes, they just use their Mark II to get around faster, and some even use it for counter griefing. Personally, I do think it's the ultimate grinding vehicle in the game to this day, and that's the way it should be used because those nerfed homing missiles are a lot more effective against NPCs than actual human players, and if you have a Terrorbyte, might as well do 5 client jobs and unlock the $6 million trade price for your Mark II, because it's one of those upgrades that completely changes the way you approach GTA Online. Like, there's GTA Online before the Mark II, and then there's GTA Online after the Mark II. And if you're a grinder in this game, you really must own this vehicle. Another vehicle you absolutely must buy is the HSW Hakuchou Drag, which certainly isn't as fast or as handy as an Oppressor Mark II, but it has one big advantage over the missile broomstick, and that advantage is availability. Basically, you can use the drag in any mission and for any type of content, whereas the Mark II, being a flying weaponized vehicle of course, it's blacklisted from certain applications like heist finales and bail office missions and more. And if you're doing tier 2 heists like the Cluck and Bell or No Way Out questline, the Hakuchou Drag is your only serious choice for moving around the map really fast. Does it have any armor? Nope. Does it fly off into the stratosphere like a rocket ship if you hit a speed bump at the wrong angle? Yes, but it also accelerates like a bat out of hell, and it can slice through rush hour traffic in Los Santos with scalpel-like precision because it's a motorbike and it's not some big fat supercar. These days, it's not a particularly bad pick for public free roam lobbies either, and that's all thanks to the missile lock-on jammer upgrade that Rockstar introduced to it recently. The next vehicle you absolutely must own if you're serious about money making in GTA Online is the Kosatka, because we all know that Kaio maxing is the #1 strat to make millions of dollars a day, and unless you have your very own decommissioned Russian missile submarine, you cannot start this heist, and you cannot rob El Rubio of his riches. So go on Warstock right now, buy a Kosatka, and give yourself brain rot by spamming Kaio 5 times a day to keep the poverty away, at least until GTA6 launches in November. And since you're already buying a Kosatka, might as well get its natural companion, the Sparrow helicopter, and this is going to be your best friend until you earn enough money for your very own Oppressor Mark II. And even after you get a Mark II, the Sparrow will still provide certain benefits that you won't get with that flying missile bike. Like for example, the Sparrow is much faster if you want to cover large distances on the map. That's because it's the quickest helicopter in the game, and it has a 35-mile-an-hour top speed advantage over the Oppressor Mark II. Then you have the magazine capacity for the missiles, which in the case of the Sparrow is literally unlimited. So if you're fighting perma respawning waves of NPCs, this helicopter is going to be way better than the Mark II because you will never run out of missiles, and you can just spam everyone to death during your heist preps or contact missions. And remember, it's the best vehicle for doing Kaio because you can take off and land directly from your Kosatka, even when it's out in the middle of the ocean. You can't do this with any other flying vehicle in the game, so if you have a Sparrow, you are going to easily complete Kaio solo in well under an hour. The Vigilante is another vehicle that we just cannot ignore today, and that's because it's unintentionally the most hilarious car in the game. First off, it packs an arsenal that would make most fighter jets blush with envy, and despite that, Rockstar has decided that it's no more dangerous than a basic armored Kuruma, so you can actually use this car in missions where normal weaponized vehicles like that Mark II and Sparrow aren't allowed. I don't know how that logic works, but it's true. You can definitely use the Vigilante, say for the Dr. Dre contract, you can use it for the No Way Out missions, you can use it to grind Cluckenbell. The second funniest thing about this car is that its homing missiles are insanely OP. In fact, they're actually basically on the same level as the Ruiner 2000, as well as Deluxo and Scramjet, so you'll see these things pull off a 720 no-scope on bad guys during your missions, and it almost looks like a scene out of some cartoon. And its windows are bullet resistant, but the rear end is completely bulletproof, so if you ever run out of missiles, just show your ass to the bad guys, and you'll be totally safe on your way back to home as you rocket boost every 5 seconds to hit that 146-mile-an-hour top speed. By the way, quick fun fact about the Vigilante is that this is secretly the fastest non-HSW car in the game with that rocket boost applied, so if you're on last gen and you're looking for pure straight line speed, buy this car. You won't regret it. The Toreador is like the Vigilante, but with a few tweaks that make it better for PvP. For starters, it has actual armor and won't blow up to a single homing missile. Then on top of that, it has an unlimited supply of missiles, so no matter how many bad guys you're going up against, you'll never actually run out of ammo. And the Toreador also handles better than the Vigilante, despite lacking the insane straight line speed. It too has a rocket boost, but it also adds a submarine mode, so if things get a little too hot, you can always chill out by going underwater and disappearing from the map. And if you're still not convinced after all of this, just ask any veteran of the game and they will tell you that this car is the #1 fly swatter in the game because it's really good at killing Oppressor Mark IIs as well as helicopter griefers. But what if you want to rule over the lobby from the skies? Well, in that case, there's only one choice here, the F-160 Raiju, aka the F-35 Lightning II. This fighter jet is the fastest vehicle in the entire game, and it comes with a pretty serious arsenal to boot. You got explosive autocannons for high-skilled dogfights, homing missiles to wreck the scrubs out there, as well as a stealth mode for when you want to take a vacation. Because once you hit that GTFO button, there's absolutely nobody in the lobby who can keep up with you, and you'll also vanish from the map like a ghost, reappearing at a place and time of your choosing after that. The Raiju also has VTOL, so you don't need a giant runway to land or take off in this jet, and the armor is better than most other fighter jets in the game as well. My next must-have vehicle, honestly, I think maybe a little bit crazy to some, it's the Buffalo EVX, and as much as I hate EVs, both in GTA Online as well as real life, I must admit that from a sheer utility standpoint, the Buffalo EVX is kinda unrivaled. This is one of the exceedingly few cars in the game with both Imani Tech and HSW mods, and what that means is not only do you dodge missiles and tank RPGs like a champ, just like you would with the EV Virtue, but you also go really fast, faster than the Virtue. And this combination of speed plus survivability means that if you're in a public lobby and you just want to defend yourself, there's no better car, except for maybe that Ocelot Virtue. The Akula is also getting a mention because it's a stealth helicopter that actually works, unlike the Annihilator. In fact, it's the only stealth helicopter worth considering in the entire game, and that alone makes it a pretty unique value proposition. It's also way better than the Hunter if you're a solo player, because while the Akula's chin-mounted machine gun is nice to have, it's not nearly as much of a force multiplier as the Hunter's explosive cannon. The Akula, unlike the Hunter, is a hit-and-run machine, which means that you don't have to rely on your co-pilot weapon at all to cause some damage, and it has the same level of physical armor as the Hunter, which makes the Akula more survivable in a practical sense once you combine that armor with its stealth mode. I'd also say that you should also consider the Avenger if you've got 1 or 2 guys who can team up with you, because this is without a shadow of a doubt one of the most OP aircraft in the whole game, and you can basically just switch on VTOL mode, set up camp in the air, and shoot down anything that comes within a 1-mile radius with your insta-kill turrets of death. You have a bunch of these things covering the front, the rear, top, and bottom, so you're protected from all angles basically, and as the pilot, you too get to be a part of the action because you can shoot homing missiles and drop bombs while your buddies in the back are wreaking havoc with their turret cams. And as impressive as the Avenger's firepower is, its armor might even be more impressive here because this thing is literally a flying tank. It can absorb up to 24 homing missiles and 8 RPGs, but because that clearly wasn't enough protection, Rockstar also decided to give it a missile lock-on jammer as well as a stealth module, because why the hell not? The Vapid FMJ Mark V with HSW upgrades is another vehicle that I think you absolutely cannot miss out on, and even though this is a pretty recent addition to the game, it's already carved the name for itself as the fastest racing car in the game, and that matches up closely with real life because IRL, the Ford GT Mark IV that this car is based on holds a 6-minute 15-second lap record on the Nürburgring. So if you want to experience some of that insane speed on the tracks of GTA Online, forget the Niobe, forget the Coil Cyclone 2, get yourself your very own Vapid FMJ Mark V instead, then slap on some HSW upgrades and watch as your car leaves everything else in the dust where it belongs. Last but not least, vehicle number 15 on my list is the Iron Mule, and you might be a little confused at this point because this helicopter doesn't seem like anything special, but you'd be very wrong here because it is special, very much so. You see, the Iron Mule is no ordinary helicopter. Instead, it's a heavy lift chopper, which means it can drop that tow hook and carry pretty much any vehicle in the game. And while the Cargo Bop does the same thing in theory, it isn't as fast as the Iron Mule, nor is it as heavily armored as the Iron Mule either. Most people don't know this, but the Iron Mule can tank up to 6 RPGs and 6 homing missiles, which makes it just as resilient as the Toreador, which everyone loves. Only this thing flies in the sky at 140 miles an hour, and it comes with a missile lock-on jammer, so in reality, it's actually more survivable than the Toreador. And you can use it to deliver vehicle cargo, to lift your nightclub vehicles, or even the trailer for your hangar air cargo deliveries. It's like using a cheat code for cell missions, and you absolutely must buy one of these if you're a serious grinder in GTA Online. Guys, those are my top 15 vehicles that I think you must buy before GTA 6. Let me know down in the comments if I missed out on any of your favorite vehicles, because after all, this is my personal list and I'm going to include vehicles that I really like, but I know that there are some of you out there which have some really good ones at the top of your list, and I simply just couldn't cover them in this top 15 video. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Drop a like on it if you found it informative and entertaining. Consider subscribing to the channel if you are new and you want to see more GTA 5 online content just like this. Check me out over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, specifically twitch.tv/hazardoushdtv, and I will see you guys in the next GTA 5 online video. Adios, amigos.